Welcome to Adam and Jake on the movies. So, what is something that you would change about this film? Which we know what your first
Um,
response is going to be. You cut some of the fat
Cut it
out of
down.
it.
Cut it down. Yeah. I thought the opening, although well done, was Act One was too long. I thought it took too long for them to. You saw with the mobster, and I thought the first part of the movie was hard for me to focus on. Like
Hmm.
it was just like it brought a lot of people in, and then I forgot about this one villain, kind of like the oversized tall villain. He reminded me that was somebody that was in the movie Dick Tracy. Did you ever see that movie?
Hmm. It
He
reminded me of
reminded
the guy from The Mask, too. Like his
Yeah, and
face.
I did watch The Mask the other day. Actually, I watched that last week as well. Um, yeah, cut it down, and that's my biggest criticism of a lot of things. But just, if it's fast paced, then you might not, when you're watching the first time, realize the story doesn't hit like it should. Only on a repeat viewing might you think about it. So if things are fast paced, I can understand why, because it's lacking depth in the story or character development or this or that. And I think this movie had great characters, but just didn't have a story. So I think
Hmm.
it's I think it went at the script level because they intended for this to be a first of three. It didn't perform.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't perform that great at the box office. Not enough to. It made money, but not enough to make sequels. Kind of like
Yeah.
Willow. They intended Willow to be more. It made money, but not enough to be like this is a franchise we're going to put lots of money in. So that's my biggest criticism. What about yourself?
Now I'm wondering how much it did make at the box office. Hold on, standby.
I think it made
Uh,
46 million domestically.
46 domestic, 46 world, 35 was the budget. So, they made their
So
money back, but they didn't really do much beyond that.
you have to think this was a summer blockbuster with tie-ins to Pizza Hut and probably other places as well.
Mhm.
Hey Destiny, we have Destiny and Aaron on, so thanks for joining.
Um, so the opening scene, I thought the opening scene, that's where it lost me, is because like, okay, this is fun that he's like flying around in this airplane, but then the whole like the mobsters that roll up and then they have to like pay for everything, and
Yeah,
like to me it's just like I don't really, this doesn't pull me into the movie.
yeah, yeah.
It sets up conflict, which is great, and you know that conflict's going to come back towards the end, so you're like, all right, that's fine. um, but you know what I would it's so funny what you said moments ago, because the biggest thing I would do to change this movie is I would recast the main
Really?
character. I
Okay.
thought Jennifer Connelly did great. I knew she looked familiar, and then I realized she was the woman in um,
A Beautiful Mind,
Beautiful Mind. Yes, I thought
Labyrinth.
she did
Have
really
you seen
well.
Labyrinth?
What was the other one?
Labyrinth.
I haven't seen that one. But
Oh,
Beautiful Mind's the one that
okay.
I.
She was a young girl in Labyrinth. That might be one
Okay.
in the future.
All
It's a
right.
completely different film, as this one was. We hadn't done a film like this. I
Yeah,
don't think.
yeah. I thought I just he just wasn't very electrifying. He didn't really pull me in that much. I think, and he's surrounded by such a good cast, like you talked about with Timothy Dalton was really good.
Yeah, Paul
Paul
Sorvino.
Sorvino,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved him, and then of course Alan Arkin. Um, but I, I, and once I was thinking about that, and you were talking about that you did like him, I thought, who would I cast in that role?
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, getting somebody like Harrison Ford would be just a bit too much.
See, I was thinking who would when you mentioned that I was like
But
Harrison Ford, but I was like,
Kevin Kline is one.
I
Who's
now
the
when I was
who's
doing research, I wish I'd written this down, but I did see where they did have a list of people that they offered the role that they
mm,
wanted because they didn't want him to begin with. And apparently, you're right with that assumption because his career never really took off.
that's the thing he's like he's the person that goes away from this
Like I've
film.
seen him in other things, but he's never like if you mention his name, most people won't know his name.
Kurt Russell. I thought somebody like Val Kilmer or Kurt Russell would be a good, maybe a better, more electrifying
Well, here were some
pick.
people that they auditioned for the part. Kevin Costner, Matthew Modine. They wanted those two actors at first, and you have to understand also, this is younger Kevin Costner. So because
Mm-hmm.
how old would you suspect Cliff to be in the movie? 30? I don't think he's supposed to be that old, is he?
Yeah.
Is he that old? At most.
Mm, I'd say he's in his 20s.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Emilio Estevez, Bill Paxton, Dennis Quaid, Kurt Russell
Russell.
auditioned for the part. Johnny Depp was Disney's favorite.
He would have
And
been. He would have been good.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I think they kind of. I would have gone with Kurt Russell over this guy. I think Johnny Depp would have put a little bit more of a spin on it, but I think he could have. He could have pushed it to the next level.
yeah,
Do you think they were trying to create a star with this?
yeah. I do
Okay.
because you have to think if because that guy was a good-looking leading actor, so I could
Mm-hmm.
see why they might think he had the perfect nose, chiseled. I didn't think his acting was bad, but I mean, you are right. He wasn't super charismatic, and
Yeah.
when he's not on screen, he's not really strong.
Yeah.
You wait for him to put on the helmet.
Exactly. Exactly. He's like an action star, and that's it.
Yeah,
He's like Keanu.